Countdown to kickoff continues ahead of the Jaguars and the Houston Texans in week 4. And you know it's AFC South season when Andrew Catalon joins us on Countdown to Kickoff. Great to see you, my friend. How are you?
It's great to be back in the division, JP. I've missed it.
Oh, you okay? Well, you're not going to miss it for long because we got a big matchup today. Of course, the Texans and the Jaguars. All right, let's start with the Jaguars start this season, 0-3, and then exposed on Monday Night Football in front of the national audience. That gave up 47 on defense. The offense couldn't do anything, and it is it's a struggle around here right now. Where do you begin? What stood out the most about that loss on Monday night?
Yeah, I just feel having been in Buffalo so many times, and I'm certainly not making excuses for the Jaguars, but it's just a very difficult place to walk into on Monday night in prime time. And I feel like, and Trevor Lawrence has even said this, they had to get out on top early. And when they did not do that, I feel like it can easily fall off quickly in Buffalo. Look, you can point to whatever you want. I mean, 5 touchdowns in the first 5 possessions, the Trevor Lawrence interception, the protection, the injuries. It was ugly. There's no other way around it. The Jaguars have said as much. I think it's one of those games where you just got to quickly move on. And certainly they've had a short week. Maybe that helps them here against the Texans because that game was a nightmare and they have to forget it as quickly as they can.
There's a lot of football left in this season. However, there are back-to-back division games. Houston this week, of course. Indy's coming to Jacksonville next week. If for some reason those don't go the right way for the Jaguars, they're 0-5, headed to London, and 2 division losses, 5 AFC losses. I mean, this is piling up in a hurry. It's crazy to say the season's on the brink in week 4, but it kind of is feeling that way. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a big one. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's so hard for me to believe that last November I called the Jaguars-Texans game in Houston. Great game. Jacksonville won. I remember walking out of that game thinking, wow, Jaguars are 8-3, but this Texans team will be coming along nicely in the future. And then to think about what has happened since that day and how the Jaguars only have one win since then. Texans went on to win the division. I mean, I think maybe if you're a Jaguars fan, maybe everything comes full circle, right? You're back in Houston where you had that beautiful win last Thanksgiving weekend. They have to hope that some of those good memories come back because you're right. You know, you hate to say the season's over in September, and I don't believe it is, but this is a big game coming up here against the Texans.
Andrew Catalon, CBS Sports, with us. Have you seen the Texans yet this year? And what stands out about Houston? I mean, obviously CJ Stroud is priority number one.
Yeah, had them week one, so I did get my AFC South taste week one when they were in Indianapolis against the Colts. It was a great game. You know, I think the thing that stood out to me was what Joe Mixon provided in the run game and really just how much the run game sets up the rest of their offense. And they really didn't have that weeks 2 against the Bears and week 3 against the Vikings. So I feel like for Houston, if they can get that run game going and then play off of that, they're a very dangerous offense. When you don't have the run game working, and last week Mixon didn't play, Cam Akers was the starter, you know, their offense looks a little different, but it's still a very talented team. They have really good pieces on both sides of the football. Daniil Hunter, I think, is a fantastic addition. And I expect that they'll be one of those teams we'll be talking about in January, come playoff time. I think they're that good.
How about the mindset of D'Amico Ryans, a guy who's played it, coached it for a long time, and now finally has his opportunity as the head man in charge? And what do you like about D'Amico?
Yeah, I think the players love playing for him. He's, I guess the term players coach gets thrown around a lot, but I feel like he is very relatable for the player. He treats them well. There's a passion, there's a fire about him that I think galvanizes this Texans team. And, I think anytime you're starting out as a head coach, there'll be little things like whether it's challenges or strategy that you pay, a close eye on. As he continues to feel his way through that, I think he's a really good coach.
Andrew Catalon with us. Doug Peterson on the other side, right? I mean, just seeing his press conference the other day on Tuesday, I guess the day after the team got back from Buffalo, he still just seemed disheveled with everything that had happened on Monday. I haven't quite seen him like that in a little while. I don't know if this is uncharted territory for Doug, but not territory you want to be in. I'll put it that way. But he's a guy that has done it before. He's rallied teams in the past. I'm curious your thoughts on Doug Peterson's ability to do that and the challenge at hand compared to some in the past for him. And how does he circle the wagons this time?
Yeah, I have confidence in him. We've seen him do it. I think he can do it again. I like what he said in that press conference you mentioned on Tuesday about enough with the speeches. There's no rah rah. We got to go out and play. And they really just have to kind of, I think, I know it's cliched, but a good start would mean so much for this team. Like if the Texans get out to a 14-0 lead, you can just see the domino and the spiral. Jacksonville has to come out, establish who they are, get some points early, get the guys going. And I think Doug Peterson, with his play calling and with his motivation, has a chance to do that in this game. But I think it's super important for them to get off to a good start.
All right, Andrew, another new booth for you this year. You're training some new analysts around you. How's it been through a few weeks?
Yeah, it's been fun. Obviously, worked with Tiki Barber last year, so we've gotten to know each other pretty well. Matt Ryan was with us a season ago, but now he's in the studio in New York. So we have Jason McCourty, who's a fantastic guy, getting to know him a little bit. And what I really like is you got Tiki going into the offensive part of it, but you'll hear a little more defense out of Jason, which you didn't really get as much with Matt Ryan. So I really love the addition of Jason, and we'll continue to grow throughout the year.
These McCourty guys are everywhere. They're taking
I
over the
can't.
league.
It's crazy. I've got Jason, who's got a twin Devin. I've got Tiki, who's got Rondé. It's like, one day they could throw a curveball at me, and I'm not sure I would know who's next to me.
Now that would be a pretty good practical joke for sure. Great to see you, Andrew. We'll do it again soon, I'm sure, and enjoy the game Sunday. Appreciate it.
Thanks. You too, JP.